Now at 6, Lyft is responding tonight after one of its drivers is accused of sexually assaulting a rider.
And a Madison man is charged in connection to a missing teen case we told you about last week involving a 14-year-old girl from Tennessee found here in Wisconsin.
Plus, another foggy start to the day for us in Wisconsin. What police hope you'll do when driving in this kind of weather.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
And thanks for joining us. The ride-sharing service Lyft is responding tonight after one of its drivers is accused of sexually assaulting a rider.
The company is calling the allegations deeply disturbing. Rose Schmidt joins us live from Langdon Street, where police say the assault happened. Rose?
Yes, well, if you request a Lyft driver from the app on your phone, the driver's name and personal information will show up. And that detailed information is how police say they were able to quickly catch the man they say is responsible for a sexual assault that happened at an apartment here on Langdon Street. Ask any UW-Madison student walking down Langdon Street, and the vast majority will probably tell you they've used a ride-sharing service.
I actually Uber a lot, yeah. I Uber to class if it's really cold or if I'm going to a restaurant far away or, yeah.
I always take Uber, but, I mean, I know those, easy things that you got to remember is to check the license plate, never tell them your name before they tell you.
And safety is on sophomore Margaret Nilsson's mind even more so after an incident early Sunday morning.
Certainly a lot of people get safe rides home from Lyft and Uber. That didn't happen this weekend with this young woman.
Madison police say they arrested 28-year-old Hassan Ahmad yesterday after a woman says he sexually assaulted her inside her apartment on Langdon Street just before 2 a.m. Sunday.
Victim's doing all the right things, getting a ride home with someone she thinks is going to be safe. This guy's pushy and convinces her that he really needs to use the bathroom.
After the alleged sexual assault, the 25-year-old woman gave police the driver's information from her Lyft app, and officers arrested him while driving in the area. And students who live near Langdon Street are now on high alert.
I always feel safe here, but I hear about these types of things happen and makes you nervous.
But I've never actually seen anything too bad happen here, but definitely just got to keep an eye out.
And they're taking preventative measures of their own.
My mom had me download one of those safety apps where you hold the button and then if you release it, it calls the cops and it brings them right to your location, which is nice. So I have that. I told my friends to do that, but besides that, just staying in groups and stuff.
I also spoke with Alder Liddell Zelders, who tells me that she's urging people to use caution, and she says it's also important that they do not blame the victim. Meanwhile, officials with the company Lyft say that the driver is no longer with them, and they reached out to the passenger to offer support. Back to you.
Rose Schmidt reporting tonight. Rose, thank you. Madison police say a woman is still in the hospital after she was attacked by a stranger over the weekend. It happened yesterday morning on Langdon Street. Police say this case is the highest priority for the department right now. Officers don't have anyone in custody, but they are adding extra patrols near the Memorial Union this week.
A Madison man is facing a federal charge of creating child pornography, and more charges may be coming. Our Amy Reed joins us now from the federal courthouse in downtown Madison with the latest. Amy?
Even though this guy is from Madison, we're at federal court because it crosses state lines. You'll remember the case of the missing 14-year-old girl where she was found in Wisconsin last week. This is related to that. Here's what he looks like. Brian David Rogers, he's 31, from Madison. His family was in court today watching. What U.S. court is saying is Rogers made contact with that 14-year-old girl through an online game, Roblox. They go on to say that when she told him she was being sexually assaulted back in Tennessee, he asked her to send video of it. The prosecution told me that's the same video that was found on her phone that led to charges for her attacker last week. The prosecution said they're also considering adding a charge of transporting a person across state lines for sexual activity, since the complaint alleges that Rogers went to Tennessee and brought the girl back to Wisconsin. Right now, the prosecution isn't positive that they'll try to add those charges, though. Now, this is just the beginning of the court proceedings here, but if convicted, Rogers faces a minimum of 15 years behind bars.
Amy Reed reporting downtown. Amy, thank you.
A foggy start to the day. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti with his first alert forecast. Gary?
Charlotte, the fog went away as the temperatures started to drop and drier air moved in. Those lower temperatures could lead to some slippery road surfaces later on tomorrow into tomorrow night because of some freezing rain and snow. Now, a pretty big ice storm went through northern Wisconsin into the UP of Michigan. We had some rain showers earlier, but those pushed off to the east behind the cold front. And right now, southern Wisconsin is pretty much precipitation free. But temperatures continue to drop. Milwaukee's still at 40. Here in Madison, we've dropped below freezing now to 31, and it's already down to 18 degrees in La Crosse where skies are clearing out. Winter weather advisories have been issued from 6 p.m. tomorrow evening through 6 a.m. Wednesday morning for much of southern Wisconsin, east of a Platteville to Lone Rock to Wisconsin Dells line. Could be looking at a couple of inches of snow through the northern parts of our viewing area, but the possibility exists for some freezing rain with a few 1/100ths to maybe a 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain in these rain showers that move through in the next couple of days. Otherwise, temperatures will drop to the middle teens by tomorrow morning. Look for skies to turn cloudy tomorrow, some light snow or freezing rain late in the day with a high of 28. That's your News 3 Now First Alert weather.
Thank you, Gary. Some of us might be getting used to waking up to this fog.
Those conditions, though, might affect drivers. Our Madeline O'Neill has some tips from one driver who likely sees the most crashes in the city. Maddie?
Eric and Charlotte, you've probably heard of Beltline Bob or at least seen the noticeable yellow Dane County service truck on the highway. The main driver isn't actually named Bob. He's Deputy Eric Novotny, but he says Deputy Eric or Beltline Eric, excuse me, doesn't have the same ring to it. He patrols the Beltline Monday through Friday, keeping an eye out for crashes or anything blocking the flow of traffic. When it's foggy like it was earlier today, he wants drivers to make sure their car lights are on, even if they're on an automatic setting. You may have to do it manually to make sure the rear lights are on too. And as a reminder, fog is always moving.
Assuming, yeah, I can see the vehicle in front of me, no problem. All of a sudden we hit a thicker wall and you become disoriented, and that's when incidents happen.
And of course, Deputy Novotny also recommends slowing down and keeping a few car lengths worth of distance when you're driving. And as he'll tell you, things do happen on the road, especially with foggy weather. So if you do get in a crash, make sure to get out of the lanes of traffic if possible and call emergency services right away.
All right, some good advice. Maddie O'Neill. Maddie, thank you.
The driver who hit the extended stop arm on a Beloit Turner school bus last week and drove away has been tracked down. Town of Beloit police used surveillance video from area businesses to help track down the truck. The bus was letting children off at the time. 52-year-old Stephen Steiner was ticketed for the incident. Hospitals and emergency responders in Dane County hope more people will download the Pulse Point app. The goal of the app is to improve cardiac arrest survival rates in our area. The app alerts CPR-trained bystanders when a sudden cardiac arrest happens. The app is connected with the Dane County Public Safety 911 communications and alerts users to events when hands-only compressions are needed before EMS arrives.
The UW campus is cleaning up after 28 buildings suffered from burst pipes as things warmed up over the weekend. Now, the worst of it happened at Vilas Hall and the chemistry building, forcing 180 classes to be relocated both today and tomorrow. But relocations are also expected to continue beyond tomorrow. Students, faculty, and staff will all be notified directly via email with any changes. 5 labor unions and a Democratic lawmaker have filed another lawsuit challenging measures approved by Republicans in a lame duck session. Those laws passed toward the end of last year and stripped away powers from Wisconsin's governor and attorney general. The lawsuit alleges the lame duck bills violate the separation of powers outlined in the Wisconsin Constitution. The League of Women Voters filed a lawsuit challenging the laws last month. A federal judge has already struck down provisions limiting early voting.
Around 100 Charlotte Russe stores are closing, including the one here in Madison. The company has been on the verge of bankruptcy for some time now. Madison's store is located at Easttown Mall. The other Wisconsin closures are in Brookfield and Glendale. It was party time at the Henry Vilas Zoo today. Dot 2 just turned 15 last week, and Kawan will turn 18 on Thursday. Today, the staff at the zoo hosted a party for the two. The theme was Under the Sea. Parents say they really appreciate these type of activities.
When we've come to the zoo here, and like I said, they do different enrichment things for different animals, I just feel like then you really get to see the animal doing what they might do in the wild even.
Borneo orangutans can live up to 35 to 45 years old, and sometimes when they're in captivity, they can live to be 60.
Okay, well, you probably noticed by now we have a new space that we're really excited to show you.
It has been a busy couple of months for us here. We've been planning for these changes for the past year, and you might remember we left our old set back in early December. Well, since then, we've been working on this one. You can see some new video displays, an updated weather center, and other tools to help us bring you breaking news and other stories to southern Wisconsin. We've been on the air since 1956, and this is our biggest studio renovation to date.
Now, as you can see, we have two massive monitors here in the studio, and those will give us more opportunities to tell your stories and also give you up-to-minute information in new ways.
We also wanted our name to reflect what we strive to do every day, tell you what's happening right now and bringing you those important stories as soon as they happen. You rely on Channel 3000 to stay connected 24/7. Now, our alert center is going to feed updates right to our broadcast show in real time.
And that'll also help us with our ultimate goal, which is to bring you the most local news in our area. We're investing more of our time and resources in what's happening in your backyard with the most reporters and most photographers on the street every day. This is the new News 3 Now, and we're glad to have you tune in.
A Wisconsin fire department is remembering one of its own.
Now they're looking to help others through their loss. That story next on News 3 Now at 6. Stay with us. Welcome back. Platteville's fire department is now learning to cope without a key member of its team.
Jamie Perez shares how the department is now coping with the loss.
To be a volunteer firefighter, you have to want to do this. Tim Ebert did. At least that's what Platteville's fire chief Ryan Simmons told me.
He was a student at UW-Platteville, so between being a student, working part-time, being a volunteer on the fire department, he was a pretty busy guy.
A guy who would wake up in the middle of the night to help save lives, but ended up taking his own.
Definitely a shock to us.
A college student who was always looking to find his path in law enforcement one day, always smiling, the department had no idea.
People that are dealing with so much depression like that sometimes hide it very well.
This is something that happens too often, and it's still not talked about enough. Why those who we may think are perfectly fine are anything but.
From what everybody knows of Tim and our experiences with him, it definitely would not have suspected anything from him. Didn't seem depressed or anything. Like I say, he usually had a smile on his face, a happy-go-lucky guy, and just wanting to help others.
We don't know why Tim did what he did, but to be honest, that's not really the point. The point now is remembering him and working on how we prevent this from happening to others.
It just makes you think, do we talk about it enough? And we probably don't. We just all think we're rough, tough firefighters that can everything bounce off our skin, but it doesn't.
If you or someone you know is struggling and needs someone to talk to, there is help. The number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255.
Coming up, it is another sign of progress following this summer's historic flooding.
After months of operating out of a temporary space, a Middleton business moves home. Hear from the employees next at 6.
An alert day in the forecast. Gary's talking our chances of freezing rain for tomorrow. That's next on News 3 Now at 6. After being displaced for more than 5 months due to last August's flooding, a local salon is back in business at its permanent location.
A new salon and spa reopened on Deming Way after offering services at temporary locations. Staff are happy to be working in their usual space again, which is much larger than the temporary spaces they were using.
It's nice to be home. We're very excited to be here, very excited to get all our clients back in here.
The damage was isolated to the basement, affecting electrical and other components necessary for salon operations.
Gary Canalti joining us. Saw a lot of melting going on over the last couple of days. Lots of puddles out there, but now the question is, will they all freeze and we be skating down the street?
Well, we're just dropping below freezing here in Madison as we speak. So, yes, the answer to that is we'll probably start to see some of those areas ice up, and then we'll also add some freezing rain and snow as well. As we take a look at alert days that we have in the forecast, we have alert days for tomorrow night for the possibility for some light snow and light freezing rain that will develop late tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night with some minor snow and ice accumulations. That will end early on Wednesday morning. Much of the day Wednesday will be dry, and then again from Wednesday night into Thursday we have the possibility for some more freezing rain and snow. That will change over to snow on Thursday with the possibility for some minor snow accumulations in addition to the ice. So something to keep in mind. Already, winter weather advisories have been issued for southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, eastern Iowa for the possibility for that freezing rain and snow. This is from 6 p.m. tomorrow evening through 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning, but more advisories will probably be needed after that. Taking a look at the computer model forecast, the first batch just bringing some light snow mainly to the north of Madison. This is through 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. Areas south of Madison will just see some light snow and freezing rain. But a second storm system from Wednesday night into Thursday might bring in a little additional snow to the north. But take a look at what's going on in northwestern Wisconsin and much of Minnesota. They could get hammered with a pretty heavy winter storm. For us, the big problem is going to be ice, because you can see some light freezing rain. This is through early Wednesday morning, a couple 1/100ths of an inch of freezing rain, and then another batch from Wednesday night into Thursday with additional ice accumulations on top of what we've already seen. So again, there's 2 periods that we could see slippery conditions. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville. Well, now that it's dark, you can see there were actually some breaks in the clouds earlier. The WISC Skycam still showing cloudy skies here. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing mostly cloudy skies but no precipitation right now. As we check out the almanac for today, high temperature 45, but that was early this morning. Low temperature at 31, and right now we're sitting at 31 degrees. Winds out of the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour, and that drops our wind chill to 22 degrees. Current temperatures are below zero and single digits above zero in northern Minnesota, compared to temperatures still around 40 in southeastern Wisconsin. The bulk of that really cold air will stay just to our north and west, but you can see over the last 24 hours here in Madison, our temperature has gone down 7 degrees, but to the west, those temperatures have dropped 20 to 30 degrees. On weather track, you can see this morning's weather heading off to the east with the rain. Here comes the next weather system. Some light snow starting to break out in parts of Nebraska and South Dakota, but again, that will change to some light freezing rain as it reaches us late tomorrow afternoon. Current weather map shows a strong area of low pressure up to the north, but a second storm system waiting in the wings to the west. That's what's going to move eastward and bring us our chances for some mixed precipitation tomorrow night. Look at the difference in temperatures. 60s down by the Ohio River, temperatures below zero up to our north. So a pretty big temperature contrast for that storm system to get fueled by. So our Metro Futurecast for tonight calls for a low of 16. The skies turn partly cloudy overnight, much colder than last night. Then tomorrow's high temperature will top out at 28 as skies become cloudy. We could see some light rain or light freezing rain or snow late in the day. On Future Track, you can see as those skies clear out overnight, temperatures drop to the middle teens. High temperatures tomorrow will top out in the upper 20s. Here comes that light snow and freezing rain by midnight tomorrow night, right about over Madison, and then that clears out early on Wednesday morning. And then Wednesday, you can see late in the day, the next batch of snow and freezing rain to our west and southwest that will be moving in. After that, the 10-day forecast calls for temperatures to drop off. By Saturday morning, we're down below zero. Then temperatures close to normal for next week, but we'll also see some periodic chances for some light snow.
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are still buddies, but does number 4 have a new nickname? The story's coming up in sports. Well, the New England Patriots are Super Bowl champions again. Tom Brady gets another ring and, of course, gets the girl. And former Badger James White is a Super Bowl champion again for the third time. White really wasn't much of a factor in yesterday's 13-3 Patriots win over the Rams. This was his only reception for 5 yards. He had only 2 carries for 4 yards, but White still got to kiss the Lombardi Trophy. Pittsburgh's Mike Webster has the most Super Bowl titles for a former Badger with 4. Now James White has 3.
I mean, they're all awesome, no matter how we win it. I mean, it doesn't have to be pretty. As long as you win the football game, you never know how these type of games are to go. I mean, it's just an awesome feeling for my teammates. We have a great locker room that sit together no matter what, and it's just pretty cool. People may have doubted us in the beginning of the season, the middle of the season. I mean, but we just stood together, know what we were capable of as a team in our locker room, just kept working.
Hey, ready for the 2019 season? Here are the early odds in Las Vegas to win next year's Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs favorites at 6-1. The Rams, Saints, and Patriots right behind. The Bears are 14-1 to win the Super Bowl, just ahead of the Packers. The Badger men's basketball team jumps 5 spots up to 19th in today's Associated Press rankings. The Badgers are at Minnesota Wednesday night at 8. The Big Ten men's basketball standings are crazy. Michigan State, and Purdue all tied for first. The Badgers only a game behind at 8-3, and it looks like that's the way it's going to be in the final 9 games of the regular season.
You think Indiana loses 7 in a row, and the last place they would go to break that streak would be at Michigan State, but they went in and played really well. So I don't think anybody's safe at home or road against anybody. It's just any night, anything can happen, and that's been a cliche, but I think this year it's really proven true in terms of how competitive from 1 to 14 teams have been.
Saturday, Monona Grove's McKenna Warnock scored 41 points in a win against Oregon. Warnock is going to Iowa next season, is averaging over 30 points a game as MG is off to a 16-1 overall start and 9-1 in the Badger Conference. The Silver Eagles have a 2-game lead with only 4 to go atop the Badger South Conference. And tomorrow night, Monroe is coming to MG for a battle of 2 teams ranked in the top 10 in Division II in the state, and we're looking forward to bringing you the game live on channel3000.com and our Prep Mania Game of the Week. Brof's all excited. He can't wait. We're live at 7:15 tomorrow night from Monona Grove. Aaron Rodgers says he's not having surgery on the left knee that bothered him all last season, and he should be able to fully participate in the Packers offseason conditioning program in mid-April. Rodgers says he feels great, and he's going to play golf in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am next week with his partner, Jerry Kelly. Brett Favre and Rodgers were buddies again this weekend at the NFL Honors Ceremony in Atlanta. Favre called Rodgers his good friend and presenting Rodgers the Moment of the Year award for Rodgers coming back in the opening night game against the Bears and throwing the game-winning touchdown pass to Randall Cobb. Here's some of Rodgers' acceptance speech.
That's why we play the game, because we love it, put our bodies on the line for our teammates, for our organizations, for the fans. And as Favre knows, there's nothing like beating the Bears.
Farvey?
I don't think anybody called him that back in the day. New nickname.
Yep. Nothing like beating the Bears, huh? Well, we have winter weather advisories for much of southern Wisconsin from tomorrow night and early Wednesday morning.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
See you back here at 10.